When you go back to school?
I go back, driving back when. I want to say I'm leaving Jersey around the 15th, but I should arrive at Atlanta about the 17th. Yeah.
And you drive down?
I'm driving with my friend, my best friend, since I was in kindergarten. We decided to take a nice little road trip, and we're going on.
She goes to Spelman, too?
No, she goes to Agnes Scott, which is our sister school.
How close is that?
About 20 minutes. It's in Decatur. So we've been going down there. Well, we've been together since we were freshmen, but the story of us deciding to go to school in Atlanta was completely, it was a surprise to both of us. So she did early decision to Agnes Scott. She got in, so that was just immediately her choice. And then I had gotten into Spelman in the regular decision. And when I made the decision to go to Spelman, I called her and I said, hey, I'm going to Spelman in Atlanta. I'm going to be down there with you. And the reaction I thought I was going to get from her is, oh, I'm so excited. We're going to be together. The reaction I got was, why didn't you tell me? I could have gone to Spelman with you. I was like, girl.
That's funny, actually.
You decided to do early decision. Even if, I know she had gotten into Spelman, but even if I had told you when you made that decision.
You wasn't there yet.
You couldn't have gotten out of it because you locked yourself in from the get-go. Mm-hmm. But, yeah.
You're still in the same state?
Mm-hmm. Still in the same state, 20 minutes away. It's not bad.
What is she studying?
She's studying, originally it was Africana Studies, but now she's doing Finance and International Studies.
International Studies, all right.
Yeah.
That works. So here we go, Goju Nation. Here's what happens. Every last one of us, nobody's immune to this. Neither are you, Mom. First thing we do in the AM is we grab our phones. The very first thing we do is we grab our phones. And we take that second, we take that minute, and we scroll through our timeline. Most of us do that. What do we see? We see filters. If you're a guy, you see thirst traps. You see clout chasers. That's freaking annoying. But today, we're going to log off vanity and log into legacy. Okay? Industry rule number 4080, Luigi. Let's go.
Industry rule number 4080. Industry rule number 4080. Record company people are shady. Industry rule number 4080. Record company people are shady.
Welcome, Goju Nation. As always, you are appreciated and respected. You're in the right place to get the qualified, verified, and certified. Make sure you tap in. Facebook, the Gram, X, Threads, YouTube, at Gotham Jungle, one word, at Gotham Jungle. Like, follow, share, comment, subscribe. Like, follow, share, comment, subscribe. All right? That way you become an official member of Goju Nation. And don't forget to add your email as we get into the new season so you can get the Gotham Jungle newsletter. We are in Season 3, Episode 14.
Ooh.
We are closing out this season. This is the last show for the season.
Really?
We're closing out this season on a high note. That was so corny. But I wanted to feed Goju Nation today. I wanted to feed Goju Nation today, especially my black and brown women, my young black and brown women. I'm going to introduce you to a concept that I need you to embrace. I'm going to show you something special and different to alter your potential thinking and trajectory in only the way that industry rule number 4080 can do. This is Devin Wiggins.
Hi. I'm excited to be here.
Born in Harlem, Jersey raised, Spelman College Junior.
Senior year upcoming.
I told her to correct me when I say things wrong. Senior year coming up. She's a dual degree.
Yep.
Physics and, Google this, aerospace engineering. Let me say this again. Physics and aerospace engineering. So while most of you are double tapping on your social media, she's doing the double major. Yeah. To every black and brown sister that's listening, this is your blueprint. Pay attention, because you can become more than a viral moment. You can be a legacy. It's very important to realize that. Ms. Devin.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I could be better, but we're not going to complain. It's not today. How is the family?
Family's doing great.
Okay. This is a statement that I say to your mom all the time, so take time before you answer this.
Okay.
How is your spirit?
I
How's
would.
it,
Good one.
I'd say that my spirit is in high hopes. I have a lot of things coming up this semester. It's going to be a big one. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be hectic. But I think that this is going to be one of the best ones I've had, based off of what I planned out.
Well, when you round third base and you headed home,
Yup.
it's an exciting time. Right? It's an exciting time. It's an exciting time. Now, I need you to take 10 seconds to realize this, okay? And if I'm doing too much, I will tone it down,
Okay.
Because I don't want the expectation to become overwhelming.
Okay.
But do you realize what you represent culturally in the current space that you're in? Like, do you realize what you represent?
I will say I hear it from my family all the time, but when you hear things from your family, you kind of like, are you just saying that? So I think when I am on campus, I really don't. But when I speak to like my little cousins and the younger generation about what I do, and I see their faces, that's when that realization hits. So I'd say about 7 out of 10 times, not really. Mm-hmm. It just seems like an average day for me, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which is a decent approach to have, because anybody that's unique in what they do is kind of what they do.
Yeah.
It's not, oh, by the way, look at me jump. I can jump.
Yeah.
You just kind of jump, and you go, ooh, that's pretty significant.
I'm talking off camera, but she's surrounded by women who doing the same thing all the time, so it's nothing to them.
She's surrounded by jumpers.
Yeah.
You're surrounded by jumpers.
And even
So-
then, it's like, for me to do physics and aerospace engineering, I think it's not, for me, as big as it may seem, because growing up, I wasn't good at, like, English and history and, well, history kind of, but English and, you know, the more writing or the writing-based classes. So for me, I didn't always feel like the smartest girl in the room.
I got you.
And so when I chose my major, I just had to analyze what I did in high school and what I was good at, and I just locked in on physics.
So that's
and
interesting,
engineering.
right? Because society dictates when you go to school that you must be good in everything,
Yeah.
right? Which is a misnomer
Yeah.
in hindsight, right? Because it almost as if you don't do good in English, then you can't spell it. If you can't spell it, that means you're stupid,
Yeah.
right?
No.
Because you can't function. But that might not be your focal point. That might not be your sweet spot, right? The person that can't spell may be the person that can look at chemical equations like they're ABCs.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, how the hell do you do that? Well, that's why I don't spell.
Yeah. And Mom can tell you, when even my freshman year of college, my writing was atrocious. And at Spelman, you have to pass a writing, some sort of like a writing exam kind of thing. It's like a portfolio, a writing portfolio, that you do all throughout your time at your first year, and then you send it in, and Spelman will tell you whether or not you passed the portfolio. And I got the notification that I passed, and I was in the car with one of my greatest friends. Her name is Olivia, and we were sitting in there, we got the notifications. I said, oh my gosh, the writing portfolio notification's out. We opened it. She said, oh, I passed. I said, oh my gosh, I passed.
Right.
Because that's not my strong suit. And when I tell people my major, they look at me, they're like, oh, you're a genius. I'm like, no, I just stick with what I'm good at.
right. That's what I do. That's what I do. So here's what we do structure-wise here, okay? I go through 3 sections. I go through a qualified section, which speaks to one area. I go through a verified section. Then I go through a certified section.
Okay.
Okay, and there's sets of questions for each one.
Okay.
Okay, which kind of, I'll say this, and your mama like this, which gives people like a step-by-step booklet for you to get to kind of understand how Devin operates.
Okay.
Okay, so here's the first question under qualified. Okay, under qualified. Who were the women in your life that taught you that ambition wasn't optional?
Well, it's a good question. It's a really good question. First person is my mom. Definitely my mama. There wasn't a single moment when I was growing up that she wasn't always working hard. She would send me, I went to aftercare as a kid because my mama was working so late after school. And I'd have friends who'd be like, oh, my mom's going to come pick me up, and then I got to go to soccer practice. My mom was like, I'm going to drop you off at the bus stop. Make sure you get to the bus stop. After that, you go to your aftercare with all your friends. I'll pick you up around 7 or 8. And I was like, cool. But every time as I grew up, if I ever felt like I didn't want to do something, she would always tell me, as a black woman, we don't have that option to, lay around and not do anything or to take the easy route because that's not how society works. And I realized that, I want to say I realized that around like middle school.
Okay.
Kind of 5th grade-ish. I had a teacher who would favor the white students compared to those who were black and brown, and especially in the reading field. That's when I started to lose my love for reading. In 6th grade, I went in and she told me, I got told I had to be in a Reading 180 class, which was the class for students who weren't good at reading. Never had a problem with reading. Never. And I got put into that class, and which almost stopped me from taking Chinese. Mom came in and talked to the principal and was like, yeah, no, she has to be in her Chinese class. But at that point, I realized that it's like a lot of people are either going to take the easy route or they're going to try and bring you down. And to make sure that you get to the place where you want to be, you just got to keep pushing forward. You can't focus on what everyone else is doing. You can't let other people get you down. And Mom gets upset because I always tell her I never understood the word no. The word no to me is a word that stops you from getting to where you need to be.
Okay. So Mom's the main one.
Mom is the main one.
All right. I just want to say something real quick. She slipped in there real quick. She knows Chinese. She said that real quick like she had yogurt for breakfast. Good.
Since 3rd grade.
Right. Okay. All right, Mom.
Yeah, Mom's definitely the main one. All of my aunties and everything else, I love them, but living with my mom has definitely had the biggest impact on it.
No problem. Harlem to Jersey.
Yep.
How did those two worlds shape your confidence and resilience?
Ooh.
Good one.
I'm going to be somebody one day. These questions are freaking amazing.
Harlem to Jersey.
It's only the second one.
Harlem to Jersey. Is definitely my mom's way. Not only mom, but growing up, going back and forth from Harlem to Jersey, it was like being in New Jersey. It was like, oh, I'm gonna go to the shore, maybe on Sunday with Dad. Maybe go down the street, get myself a nice little acai bowl, and things like that. And I go to the city with Mom, and I'd be like, oh, it's gonna be fun. I'm gonna walk around. And Mom was like, yo, let's keep moving. Let's go. We ain't got no time to stop. And you gotta walk slow. People gonna keep moving into you. Ain't nobody got time for you to be walking slow. You walking slow, move to the side. And, but it also gave me that, like you were saying, the confidence of when I look at those who live in the city, I see people who aren't afraid to do something crazy. They're living in this small area packed full of people, and each and every one of them has a different story. And even to Harlem, Mom taught me, and just overall the experience showed me that our community is so strong. We've been through a lot, but when you come into these communities, you don't think about, or at least I didn't think about, racism, and I didn't think about, how, there might be somebody who doesn't even like me, who could look at me and hate me the minute I, walk off the block. I would be there with people who look like me. I would be listening to music produced by people who look like me and who are made by people who look like me.
And accessibility, because they were there.
Right, because they were there.
Right.
And being in that area not only made me feel like, don't be afraid to take up space, because that was our space. But it also, made me realize that in a world where we're not really, like, a lot of people tell us that we don't belong, it's okay to make your own space. Make a place. If someone says you don't belong there, make yourself belong there. Don't be afraid to move things out the way. Don't be afraid to change things, because that change might be the best thing for you. Mm-hmm. And Harlem, the culture overall, has such an impact in the Black community. Music, art, fashion, all of that, even just overall culture. Those were the people who did the best with what they had, and brought so much change to the community and how we live our lives. So I say all this to say that I think looking at those who came before me in Harlem and in the area, it really brought the idea of, you belong here. Whether people think that you don't or others don't, this is where you belong.
That is something that I truly relate to from a New York overall standpoint, but that might be a core element, Mom, of Harlem.
I think
compared to the other boroughs.
Yeah.
Because what you just said, see, one thing that I'm going to add to what you just said was within the space that we have, right? Finding your way within the space that we have. We don't have this space. We're not Brooklyn.
Right.
With this.
Right.
Okay? And we're on top of each other.
Yeah.
But within that, we still find a way to make it happen with each other, and support system or not, you find a way, and to find a way to make a way says a lot within that space. It was almost like it's almost like there's a different bracket around you to kind of pull it together, and to recognize that and see that from and to see the elements, like you said, of culture, fashion, et cetera, as means, whether it be to dive into for a career or an escape. As a driving force is significant. That was a very good answer.
Thank you.
I'm glad I invited you to come down. First time you realized you loved science. Was it a teacher, a project, pure curiosity? What is that?
When I read this, I really had to sit there and think, what was it? And there wasn't a specific thing.
Okay.
All the signs pointed to science. I was an art kid when I was a kid, but at the age of like 5, I remember one specific camp grandma, which is what I call staying over at my grandma's for like a month. One specific field trip that she took me and my 2 other older cousins on, the Liberty Science Center. And I walked in there and I saw all these different things of science. I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. I left. I said, well, that's science. Cool. Went right back to arts. I went to middle school, and I had this crazy science teacher. Her name was Miss Charon. Walked around, different colored pigtails, slippers, had a closet full of lightsabers, spoke in German half the time. But it was the best class I've ever had. And I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of nice. Took her physics course. I understood basically everything in the class. I was like, oh, this is easy. I like this. And then I was told that my middle school had
a physics course, basically everything happened. Just had an apple for lunch, drank some water, just breathing.
But again, like I said before, if you gave me a writing course, I'd be like, hey, yo, this is writing. I can't.
Physics course.
But
my behind took biology. Got through the course. Looked at my guidance counselor, says, that's it. That's it.
I actually can't do bio.
You can do chemistry. You can do physics.
No.
I can do nothing. Does this require me to graduate from high school? Yes, you've met the requirement. Then I am done. Took a physics course.
But after that, I found out that my middle school had a Science Olympiad team, which is a big competition nationally for some states, And they take middle schoolers and high schoolers who love science and tried out for the team and got in. And it's a big competition of science, engineering, chemistry, spontaneous stuff. And we had one. I was so excited. Tried out.
Why were you excited?
I was excited because that's when I feel like subconsciously I really started loving science.
So that was the click.
That was the subconscious click. Like, I became conscious of it a little later. But I walked in and I was like, yeah, this is cool. Because Mom was always talking, you should try science. What about engineering? You'll make a lot of money in engineering. I was like,
I
yeah.
saw that look. I saw that.
That was another sign. She just kept talking about it. Got in, and I got in on the optics team, which is lasers and the bending of light and how light works. And walked into that room. That's the most comfortable I've ever felt in a room. And it was a room full of my school's weirdest kids. Mm-hmm. Walked in at 8th period. All of a sudden, my teacher's sitting there with a pair of pig lungs attached to a hose and was like, who wants to go outside and explode these pig lungs from the anatomy class? Sure. Mm-hmm. Went outside, had a whole bunch of fun. Did I have friends chasing each other down the halls with big old pinballs? Yes. Yes, I did. But it was the most comfortable and I've ever felt. I felt like I belonged in that room of weirdos. Mm-hmm. And I was like, these people are actually really cool.
Found your tribe.
This might be me. Fast forward to a couple months later, Hidden Figures comes out. And I sat in that room, I sat in that movie theater, and I watched it. And I was watching what these women did, specifically Mary Jackson, and the work that she put in, and all of them telling every single white person in schools, in the courtroom, telling her, you can't be an aerospace engineer. Not in this world. Mm-hmm. You can't have the books. She had to go to the library and try to get the books. And I believe they told her that she couldn't have it. So she had to steal it. Mm-hmm. Stole the book, studied, came back to NASA, and was like, here's what I know about this. Got it done. Became the first black female aerospace engineer. Mm-hmm. And watching her story, I locked in on her and I said, that's what I want to do. I saw the rocket launch, and I was like, there's something special, not about the rocket, but about the energy it takes and the power it takes for them to get that thing off the ground. Mm-hmm. That thing is so heavy, and they have produced so much power to get that off the ground. I want to work on that. So I locked in on rockets, and I was like, cool, that's what I want to do. And then here I am.
Okay. She's great. Why Spelman?
Why Spelman? So, why Spelman? Originally, and I hate to say this, but originally it wasn't going to be Spelman. Originally it was going to be a school called Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, or Rutgers.
This is for y'all to know. I know this whole story. We tormented over this thing from day one. I had a front row seat.
Really?
To this whole situation.
God, yes.
Absolutely. You don't know that. I had a front row as you did Cameo. That's for people who are older.
Yeah. Oh my God.
As you did Cameo, I got every Cameo phone call.
I was like,
what is she?
what?
Is she? What is?
12th grade is like the worst.
Oh my gosh. We were like 2 seconds from strangling each other the entire year. It was bad. But originally it wasn't going to be Spelman. Originally it was going to be Embry-Riddle, or it was going to be Rutgers. And personally, Embry-Riddle, when I went to that campus, it connected with me. But financially, I couldn't do it. We couldn't do it. And, excuse me. And Rutgers.
All the schools that you applied for.
Oh, well.
Right.
Yes.
From a mom's standpoint.
Just to say, I also...
Affordable. Nothing's affordable.
Nothing's
Nothing!
No. But I also applied to FAMU and GW, which is George Washington University. But it came down to Embry-Riddle, Rutgers, and Spelman. And I was leaning more towards Embry-Riddle because that was the school that I had found. I went to go visit it. I looked into it. Every single thing about it, I loved. Financially, couldn't do it. We had to take that off the list. So then it came down to Rutgers Engineering and Spelman College. And the money was there for Rutgers. It was. But when it came down to me having to pay the deposit, I sat at that table, at my dining room table, button ready, money, card, information put down. All I had to do was hit the button. I couldn't do it. And I spoke to a past teammate of mine who was, at the time, he went to Morehouse. I said, how did you know that this was your path? How did you know you want to go to HBCU? He was like, there was nothing that, there was no part of me that didn't want to go to HBCU. And not only that, but the way that they take care of you, the way that they teach you, every single thing that they're doing, there's a method to it. Mm-hmm. And you learn to appreciate it as you go. Mm-hmm. But I did it not only because I wanted to learn what I wanted to do, but I wanted to learn it as a black man. And I was like, okay.
That was his answer.
That was his answer. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay. So I sat there. I was like, I think I want to go to Spelman. I hit that button. And when everything came down, it was really just Spelman had not only the, how do I put it? Not only did they have the program I wanted with the physics and the aerospace engineering, but the way that they taught it, how the classes were 26 people instead of 300, mm-hmm. how you had the time to really get to know a professor, and how, because of my department is smaller, but even then, they really do give everything to you the best way that they can. Mm-hmm. If you want to do something and you tell them that your first year, your professors will constantly let you know. They will constantly help you with that. Mm-hmm. So it's really just that care, that nourishment. They're also not afraid to wake you up if you're late for class. They don't take it. If you're late to class, they will make sure you get there. Mm-hmm. But they, as much as they take care of you, they also expect a lot out of you.
Okay.
If it's at the end of the day, you need to be at convocation at 11. Those doors close at 11:02. Mm-hmm. You need to be in your white attire with your shoes and your stockings. That's what you have to do. I see you over there clacking about those shoes and the stockings.
You have to explain what convocation is.
Yeah. Convocation is, well, it's a bunch of different things. Convocation is a part of our first year experience club course, where they teach you not only about financial independence and the importance of taking care of your financials, but they also teach you about what's the best way to go through college, what's the importance of Spelman College, your ancestors, and overall your community, and why giving back to your community matters, and how important the steps that you have chosen to get you here mm-hmm. are, and how Spelman College being here is important for your future. Which I feel like I kind of got a little off topic, but yeah, Spelman definitely, it was just the community, the nourishment, and everything else. Yeah,
that actually answers the question. Like, by going off topic, kind of answers the question.
Perfect,
because it speaks to the depth of how it's embedded inside of you.
Yeah,
right? More so you just kind of giving a caged answer. All right,
and it's number one HBCU for 18 years in a row.
Yes, we are number one for 18 years consecutively.
That's the power of women.
Yes.
We're gonna interview her mom next time.
Yes.
and she's gonna coachly drive you up a damn wall.
Completely.
But it's okay. Fun fact: less than 3% of aerospace engineers are black women.
Yes, that is true. And I'm one of the 3%.
Think about the strongest woman in your life. I'm just saying this like to the people that are watching. Think about the strongest woman in your life, and she looks at you and says, "What are you going to do?" Like, you have to step up to what that represents from a culture standpoint. Like, knowing what your mentors are. And when your mentors are people you identify and they work with you, then they says, all right, now what you gonna do? And you have to have an answer for that. You can't have a question for that.
Yeah.
Because you have to move this needle.
Yeah.
Right? There's a responsibility to that. So that's cool.
That's a question that Spelman asks you at the end of every year.
See? Can't be what you can't see.
It's a constant thing. And even to graduate, they ask us, they're like, congratulations, you've gotten your diploma, you're going to graduate and everything. So what you doing tomorrow?
And
It's like, so you got a job planned out, you got, a college planned out, you going to grad school, med school, let us know.
Right, that's what's going on. Well, that's what's qualified. So you see we laid down the foundation. See how we did that? Right, that's what qualifies. So we want to get the verify, which I call, Chris is going to like this. And the V. She knows exactly where that comes from.
Exactly.
Okay. This is where we speak about, like, the why. We spoke about how you got here, right? Now we're speaking about why you're here, okay? A little bit more, okay? I don't know how much you are or you aren't on social media, which you can provide them, whatever detail is. But what does ambition look like to you today without the filter of social media?
So I am a person who I find social media as a escape from the chaos of being a student, but I don't post on. If I post, it has to be a very important occasion, like a birthday of one of my favorite people or somebody who means the most to me, or it's an important message for me to send out that it stays on my timeline. But for me, ambition outside of social media has to be, that's actually a really good question. That's a really good question. I would say doing what you know needs to be done.
Say that one more time. Look in the camera. Say that one more time.
Doing what you know needs to be done.
I'm gonna say a phrase that we all know, or if we don't know, we should know. Denzel Washington used to tell his kids, because his kids wanted to be in his movies all the time since they were little. They wanted to be in the film business very early. He would look at them in the face and says, "No." Okay, and they would say, "Why?" He says, "Because you need to do what you need to do before you can do what you want to do."
Yeah.
I just wanted to tie that together.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And I was asked in high school, I'll never forget that a friend asked me this. They said, "Oh, when you get to college, what are you thinking about? You're gonna, you gonna go to parties and things like that? What are you thinking of?" I said, "Do I look like I have time for parties? I have a whole life ahead of me. I can party and celebrate when I have 6-7 figures in my account. Right now, this is the time for me to set myself up for success. And I have friends and things and friends and people who, do live their lives in a party thing. And for me, that's not for me. But for them, they might succeed like that. But I need security. I've always been like that. I've been raised like that. If you don't know what's happening as far as the environment around you, you can't be comfortable. So for me, growing up, even I had an idea of what colleges I wanted to go to in kindergarten. Mom can attest to this. I was sitting there in kindergarten and be like, I want to go to Princeton. I want to go to Columbia. Granted, I did not apply to those schools. I was wrong when I was a kid. But having the idea of just not going to college was never an option. Because I knew that if I went to college, I'm going to get a degree. And if I'm going to get a degree, I'm going to be successful. Because whatever I do with that degree, I'm going to be 100% sure of what I want to do. And I was. I said physics, aerospace engineering. And now that I'm here, I'm like, okay, I'm getting my degree. I'm about to graduate. do I want to go the master's PhD route, or do I want to go straight into corporate? But it's never, for me, the idea of a gap year wasn't an option, because I know that making sure I was secure, my family was secure, was what needed to be done.
There's the answer. So the ambition is tied to being successful, tied into your legacy aspect, where you fit in, and what your role is in doing such. And that's what drives you outside of everything else that's going on.
Yeah.
Because you see those things in front of you clearly, right? Not gray, clearly. Like
Yes.
Dolby 5.1 surround sound with a sound bar.
Yeah.
Okay. And that is the lens that you look through when you see what you're doing next.
Yeah.
That's what drives you. She said two things. First of all, if you notice, when I do these things with people on it, the people that are successful have good things, whether it's relationships, whether it's goals, they have one thing that's majorly uncommon. The social media thing is not important to them. It just is not. It isn't. They recognize it's an element of living and being around, but it's not the be-all, end-all. It's not the wake up, go to bed, I have to be around thing. I think that's important to recognize. I want to say this one more time. Connecting my goals to being successful, recognizing my place in my family legacy and what that represents is what's driving your ambition.
Yeah.
That is a strong statement. I'm
Yeah.
very proud of that. That's why I asked you, are you aware of the space that you're in? Because the way that you're seeing things through a lens that not many people know even exist. Not many people recognize they should be looking at their legacy and what that represents and how they go about what they're dealing with. They kind of just sit back and say, well, this is what I want to do. This is what makes me happy. This is what I want to do. I don't care what they think. Okay? And we'll figure it out later. To have that in your frontal lobe, okay, is something of significance.
But she also, I'm sorry to say, she also was one of the first to go to school outside her state. But she did that for her little cousins.
Yeah.
Because she didn't want them to everybody went just to Rutgers.
She wanted them to see different.
She wanted them to see different, the legacy.
She wanted to see different. You see different, you do different. Right?
Yeah.
So this is ironic because we have an ironic turn, right? So where I went to a Catholic university. I went to St. John's.
Okay.
Right. And my thought process was the antithesis of yours from a standpoint of I want them to see that they don't have to necessarily go to this college. They can go to this college with the same thought process of ambition and growth and legacy, but just a different point of view. So it's not necessarily that one is right and one is wrong. It's just important to kind of clearly express what it is.
Yeah.
And what that represents. So that's good. All right, here we go. Tell us about the hardest class or project or moment where you said,
Wasn't a project, it was a whole year. It was first year.
man, what you doing? I think I'm tapping out.
Yeah, I got that call.
It was first year. It wasn't a whole class.
First year in college.
It was the first year of college. Being 800 miles away from home. Not understanding how to move in a college environment through classes. I was moving like I was in high school. And college was like, that's not going to work. You need to fix that or else you ain't going to survive. And I called Mom at the end of every semester. Mama, I might not be coming back this semester. I don't think I'm going to make it. She was like, yeah.
Can I tag in
did.
here? Can I tag in?
Yeah.
I got those phone calls too.
She's flipping.
And I remember having this conversation with your mom.
Really? That one
Absolutely.
too?
We had this conversation. And I told her, I said, she's going to remember this. I said, she's going to be perfectly fine. She says, you should hear the phone calls that I'm getting. I was like, she's going to be perfectly fine. I said, I'm going to tell you why. Okay? That's everybody's first year in college. They don't check on you. They don't track you down. The times are off. You're your own alarm clock. You're your own dietitian. You're your own person that has to work out. You have to wash your own clothes. I said you take for granted that that's all done for you, and then the amount of studying is 4 to 6 times more than what it was previously.
Yeah.
And you have to find the time. And then you just sit back and say, but there's only 24 hours in the damn day. How the hell? And the answer is, you just won't sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah. But please continue. I'm just letting you know,
No, you're
I
good.
had a front row seat to that one as well.
Man, Mom.
That was my consigliere over there.
Dang. But I think the specific class that really got me kind of like, nah, this might not work out. Calc 2. Calc 2. I was in my bed during finals. I got
Hey, I can fix that now, Luigi.
Calculus too.
Calculus too.
calculus 2, yeah. I was in my bed, in my dorm, reading week. 4 days straight. I want to say I got a max 8 hours of sleep in those 4 days. Sat there, videos, notes, some of the review sheets, past tests, laid out on the bed, equations. It got so serious, I had to order a whiteboard poster. Had that thing on the side at the end of my bed. I was standing on my bed writing equations on my wall. Cause I was like, I might not pass this class. And my teacher was like, if you can just get at least this grade, I'll bump it up to a pass. I was like, all right, cool. Sitting up there, studying my butt off. I'm on Zoom with the teacher at 10 o'clock at night, trying to figure this out. And I was like, I might not pass this. And I have test anxiety. I'm terrible at tests. So I get to that. I'm like, okay, I studied. I got all the questions down. I'm good. I get in that test. Gone. I'm like, oh. I'm like, I might not make it. I might not come back. This is it. This is what's going to be. I hand in that test. I said, can you grade it? Please. I don't want to go home. And I don't want to go back there and be worrying about this. I want to know right now. Can I tell you, I was 1 point off from the passing grade? I cried. I got back to my dorm and I bawled.
Oh, you called me.
I called you, yeah. And I cried on the phone with you. That was when I was like, I might not be a physicist. I might not be aerospace engineering. I might be ending up working at Target around the corner
Because
from
you're
home.
connecting the math dots.
Yeah.
To the STEM aspect of it, the math part of the STEM is saying if I can't pass calculus 2, then how can I do this, right?
It took me, I think that year, we got our grades back in June, early June. I didn't check those things till like mid-July. Because I was dead scared to see what my GPA was going to be.
Right.
And Mom was telling me every day, why don't you check your grades? Did you get grades in? I was like, yeah, sure. Checked them. I was good. They said I was coming back. I said, hallelujah. Then the second part was, so what's that financial aid going to look like? I said, ooh, I think I'm going to check that one later too. I couldn't. We had to pay the bill on the 15th. Checked that. I was solid. I was like, okay, we can work this out. We're going to be fine. But yeah, that got 2 grades. Shook my year.
It wasn't even science, it was math.
It was math.
I tapped out after calculus 1. I made it through calculus. Went back to my guidance counselor. Do I meet the requirement to graduate by taking this course? Yes, you have. I am done. We're on to something else. Oh, Lord, but... And then AI is here to solve all that. So now you took the class. So now in 4 years, you're going to be mad you took the class because you won't need it in any way, shape, or form because AI is going to answer every damn equation for you. How did mentors Dr. Christopher Oakley and Dr. Derek Hilton change your trajectory?
So I'm going to start with Dr. Hilton because there's a lot to say about Dr. Oakley. Starting with Dr. Hilton. Dr. Hilton was one of the first professors I met. I met him my first year, second semester. He was my, or was it first? No, it was second. He was my lab professor. Sat in the lab with him. I was like, okay, I need some help with this. I don't understand this. Now, in my head, I'm thinking the teacher's going to be like, oh, yeah, let me help you out with that. He looked at me dead in my face and said, what don't you understand about this? I said, it's asking me to create a parallel, which is a parallel circuit. But when I tried to, it still ended up in series, which was one after the other. He looked at me, he said, I don't know anything about that. What do you want me to tell you? You're going to have to figure that out. Sir! And at that,
professor.
and he told me something that I will never forget, which changed also my complete trajectory of how I even thought about college. Teachers are taught to teach you. They are certified to teach you things. They will sit there and tell you what you need to know. Professors are there to profess things to you. You're supposed to read beforehand. I'm going to say this to the camera. You're supposed to read beforehand, come in with the information, ask your questions, and they will then discuss what you know with you. I did not understand that when I was in his class. So I would come in and I'd be like, I don't know what it is. Well, I don't know. You didn't read the book. I didn't know.
If you didn't do your job,
I can't do my job if you ain't do yours. And I had him, after that, I've had him for intro to theoretical physics.
You sort him out.
Yes. Not even, but like, because we're a small department.
Right.
So he just he teaches some of our necessary courses. Mm-hmm. Also, shout out to Dr. Hilton. He is the creator of the physics department. We love you. But
You had him for what class?
I had him for intro to theoretical physics, classical mechanics, quantum mechanics, lab.
People are watching this and their heads are going.
Physics mechanics, electricity and magnetism lab. I had him for just overall just questions sometimes. Like he also tutored me through differential equations over the summer. And when there's another part in quantum mechanics, we were talking about orbitals. And this man, when I tell you I love my department, he said that he got a second degree in chemistry just so he wouldn't have to take a German class in college. He said he didn't want to learn German, so he said, I'm going to just take a second degree in chemistry. So I told him, we were discussing orbitals. He was like, what are orbitals? Mind you, it's one of the basic chemistry terms. So we're like, what do you mean, what are orbitals? He's like, what are orbitals? I don't know what orbitals are. I'm in your physics class. I don't know what they are. Mm-hmm. Everybody in the room looking around like, what? And he taught me through all of these questions of him being like, I have no clue what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. I don't know what that is. He taught me, if you don't write down exactly what you mean when you're doing your work, step by step, if you can't explain the work that you're doing as if somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about is reading that and they can't understand that, you do not know what it is. You know nothing about it.
Right.
So when I learn in his class, I go back to my friends who are non-physics majors. And I look at him and I'm like, can I explain this to you? And please tell me if you understand it. I explain it. They'll be like, no, that makes sense. Or they'll be like, nothing. I have no clue what you mean. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay, all right. I got to start studying anymore. That's what Dr. Hilton's giving me.
Let me tell you the beauty of that, because that is the aha moment that every student that cares about what they're doing goes through when they go to secondary education. Mm-hmm. It is the aha moment when you are taught that whatever you're studying, you go to colleges and universities to learn how to think.
Yeah.
Not thinking, how to think. And then you know how to, and then from there, you process, you disseminate, you learn, and you're able to receive information better as well once you learn how to think. Everybody has that aha moment when they go to college, if they choose to graduate, because they wake up one day and it says, I didn't think that way, And then from that moment on, they think differently. Mm-hmm. So that's a seminal moment for you.
And even to now, I have a friend, she was taking a physics course, and she asked me to help her. I said, cool. She had a question. They said, if a girl let's say the wind is going in one direction, she has a box and it's on a string. Should she pull it with the wind behind her, or should she pull it forward, right? Oh, no, it was like, should she pull it with the wind or push it against the wind? And I'm sitting there talking to her. I'm like, well, here's the real question on that problem. Is she pulling it like this, or is she pulling it like this? Mm-hmm. And so she looked at me, she said, what do you mean? I'm like, well, if she's pulling it like this, it's going to be more power than if she's pulling it like this. And she's like, that's a good question. We spent all night, emailed her teacher. The next day, her teacher emailed her and said, please don't ask the physics majors for help, because they're going to look at it like physics majors. This is a general physics course.
Right. She literally said, who the hell are you talking to? Making my life harder. Exactly.
But Dr. Oakley has been my mentor, one of my favorite professors since, actually, no, he is my favorite professor. He's been my favorite professor since I got there. I walked in, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. He was like, come to my class. I'm going to make sure that you got room. I could not take that class because I had a time conflict. But I still went to him, and he was able to, anytime I didn't understand something, he was able to simplify it for me to understand, whether it was class or not. And he comes into the lab, and he'd be like, what you working on? I'm like, working on a setup for optics, trying to work out a polarizer, and he's like, got an idea. Come with me. And I'd be like, cool. He helps. Also, he brings donuts and coffee on the first day of school. Perfect. And he loves to share it with the physics majors. But he, not only that, but he has, I think, he has just overall changed how I thought college was going to be. Mm-hmm. I thought college was going to be ridiculous and stressful, and he has helped me with calculus 1, 2, and 3.
Is it calculus 3?
It goes all the way up to 4. He's helped me with mechanics. He's helped me with chemistry. He helps my friend Zoe with Spanish. Mm. He has overall, whenever I need, if I'm currently doing research with him, and with his ideas, he wanted to create a virtual reality course. Not really a course, but a virtual reality environment that students can learn, and they can manipulate 3D models of microscopic, let's say it's like atoms models, things of that sort, like a quark or something. Mm-hmm. And he trusted me with that. Mind you, we had no idea what this is going to be like. He's like, I kind of think it'll look like this. We're drawing on a whiteboard. And I'm like, okay, let me see how this goes. He's like, let me work a couple things out. He gave me in a time of need too, because I was living off campus for the first time, and I did not know how to pay for groceries and a whole bunch of other stuff. He got me a application to a not a scholarship, but a fellowship. Thank you, Mom. A fellowship, which paid me $25 an hour up to $2,500 and that covered me for groceries throughout the year. And I would ask him, and I'd be like, how do you think this would look? He'd be like, this is your project. I'm just putting my name on it, really. But if you want me to check the work and the spelling, go ahead, because once again, I'm not an English person. Mm-hmm. He has pushed me to go further than I even thought I could.
So that's amazing. A support system that pushes you. That's amazing.
Yeah, the department is so small, and I tell people this when they come on tours. The department is so small that you basically are able to pick a professor to work with.
Mm-hmm.
And that will be your professor for the entire time you're there.
Gotcha.
You make that connection, and they always have your back. Dr. Oakley will help me when it comes to guidance as far as courses goes. He's not my counselor.
Not your counselor.
But
right.
he will help me out with that. And he'll be like, yeah, here's exactly what it is. And I'll be like, cool. If I am in the lab constantly, haven't eaten, and he sees me sitting there, he's like, you have been here and you haven't eaten, come get a granola bar in my room.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go do it. I'll go get food. He has just overall been there and been the number one support throughout all of this. And I don't think I even could have made it through this without him.
So he's an amazing nurturer and supporter.
Yeah.
Who was your mentor? Who's the name that pops in your head when you think about school?
Me?
Yeah, who's that mentor person?
Me? Depends. The first one that actually did pop up was Professor John Manbeck.
Uh-huh.
I was doing journalism,
Right.
and he was the head of the journalism department. And he was like, he was incredible in many sense. But at that time, and this is a long time ago, so I'm totally dating myself, it was the Howard Beach trial.
Okay.
And he took me to the Howard Beach trial.
See, we're walking through it. That's what I was alluding to.
Yes.
What I was alluding to is the seminal moments. The mentors have seminal moments, and when they have seminal moments, they stay in your head. They stay in your head forever, and it's very that.
And there was another, when I was looking to schools, because I had to go to secondary school and went to New Paltz, I went to so many different schools, and I just happened to be at New Paltz, and one of the Black Studies professors saw me. He's like, are you thinking about New Paltz? I was like, oh, well, I don't know. I had all these other schools. He was like, no, come on, let me show you. And so, just the embracing of that, but these are people who stay in your life, who switch the switch, right? That change the trajectory of your entire life.
That's important for people that are watching this. I want them to kind of get the brevity of how this kind of impacts different people. Okay, so I'll share a small story with you about my mentor. Okay, her name is Dr. Spittler, and she looks exactly like Lilith Stern and Crane from Frasier. Remember Frasier's girlfriend from Cheers? Remember Frasier's girlfriend from Cheers? She looks just like her. I was BSing in school. Okay, I'm in English class, and as you know, when you take literary courses in college, you have to read 12 books. Okay, and read a third of a book a night. Okay, so the midterm came. We're 6 books in. I've read maybe 3 chapters of one book. Okay, I'm a great test taker, by the way. Historic, I'm a great test taker. Okay, great test taker. So I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I know we should have read literally probably 4 books by now. I read 3 chapters of each book to go take the test. And it's the and we get 3 grades: a quiz, a midterm, and a final. That's it.
Whoa.
Okay, and the quiz I botched because it's college. You don't know when the quiz is. Right, so I walked in one day, quiz. Right. So I walked in one day, quiz. I was like, oh, failing this one. Haven't read a damn thing, so I'm done on this one. So the midterms here. So I do my midterm thing, and I actually have some reference because I read a little bit of each book. Okay, a little bit of each. She comes back and she decides she's going to read excerpts of the different students in class about how they did on the midterm. I'm fully prepared to say, I got to focus on this final. Because I know I done botched this midterm and botched this quiz. And then she says, all of a sudden, says, and let's see what Tally wrote. I jumped up and down like, who? Who? And she read what I wrote, okay? Then gave out the exams afterwards. I'll never forget this. I got a 92 on the midterm.
What?
She called me up after the class, and she says, I know damn well you ain't reading this. But here's what's important. What you did read, you had enough insight into what you were reading to write some cognitively, respectfully that I could read and understand and process and say, wow, he actually did understand what he read. And then she looked at me just like this, Devin, and said, and imagine if you read it all. From that point on, I was done. I was done. That's my favorite teacher. I read every single thing, just like her. I sought her out for every single class we could have, right? And Chris, to put it in perspective, ready? Put it in perspective. Mm-hmm. She knows Angie. That's how mentor she is. That's how mentor she is. She knows Angie. So I'm just sharing these stories because it's important that you had a professor that walked you around the campus and says you have to see this. You have a professor that nurtures and supports you and takes care of you in all ways necessary and kind of has a little bit of a sixth sense of what you need. I had a professor that saw what was in me and says, you just need to act right and pull it out. And I'm going to let you know how smart you are. And I was like, oh, so I can do this. These are all very important aspects of what mentors can provide because they stay on your arm like an angel, okay, to this day, and make sure that you walk a certain path and you carry yourself a certain way because here's the last part. You don't want to disappoint them.
Yeah. No.
They don't tell you that part. No. They don't tell you that part. At the end of the day, you don't want to disappoint them. And it's not about failure. It's about disappoint because you can fail.
Yeah.
Mentors let you fail. They let you fall. Just don't disappoint them.
You know, research day, when I had to present his research, and the research that I did, I remember we had an advanced lab class, which I had with him. 3 hours, nonstop lab. That's it. Everybody else is working on their projects. I'm sitting in the corner working on his research on my presentation. I'm like, I brought him over a couple times. I'm like, you like this? He's like, yeah, it looks nice. That's good. Right?
You have to explain the research, like what that was.
Yeah. So research day is the research? Oh, yeah. So I basically designed the environment, the 3D environment using Gravity Sketch, the virtual reality environment using Gravity Sketch and.
I'm like, no, explain that.
This is what STEM students do. For them, this is breathing.
Yes.
This isn't creating. This is breathing. She's just exhaling.
Talk about the
But
project.
yeah, I created this virtual reality classroom, which I wanted to create for to include every type of learning a student needs, whether they need to write out equations. Mind you, the prototype was for physics. So it was for whether you needed to hear your teacher tell you the information. I put up videos of Dr. Oakley teaching about one of the topics, which was the center of mass. Mm-hmm. I had frames of the information of what the center of mass is for people who learn via reading. They had the explanation of what it was, the equation of what it is, what each part of the equation meant. Those were on the three frames.
So it pays attention to how they receive information,
right?
And you're providing that manner of how they can decipher,
right? If someone's a person who has to learn via pictures, if they're like, I need to remember what something looks like, you could go out and grab the object, pick it up, turn it around, move it, however you wanted to see it, however you felt you would remember it.
So it would be tangible to you.
Right. Put it back. If you needed to write it, I had big old blackboards, and it comes with a pen tool on the platform. You could draw your equations and work it out. And the room holds 10 people, so you could have 10 students in there working, or 9 students and a tutor, TA, teacher, however they want to go about it. And they could just be in there learning. And
so the gym is, I'm gonna make sure I got this. So the gym is, they could be learning, for argument's sake, they could be learning about one subject, for argument's sake, okay? It's just the different ways they receive and process how they learned. That's all happening in that same room. So it's still progress happening all at the same time.
Yeah.
It's just that she's visual, I'm tangible, other person has to write it out. Okay, got it.
And essentially, we are still testing it out. But what my hope is that students could go back into it, could go back to the room, see the work that they did, and study based off of that. If they wanted to erase what they did and try it out again, they can.
This is absolutely a tangent, but it's what we spoke about earlier, Luigi. this is where AI comes into play.
Yeah.
Okay, because that connects that connects those dots of how you implement that technology into it, and now it becomes that. And now you're looking at what a new virtual classroom looks like, or watch this, Chris, what virtual home schooling looks like.
So check this out. So number one, she came in second place in the whole competition. The school shuts down for this competition.
We did.
Right? The second thing is that one of the Spelman board members came in and enjoyed it. Like everybody was coming in and enjoying it. And what ended up happening, she said, this is amazing. I want you to present this to the board. So that this is something that other classes,
Connecting the dots. Connecting the dots, what
Yeah.
you just said.
other majors can utilize, like chemistry or
Whatever the subject, doesn't matter, whatever the subject matter is, because that's a template.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a template of virtually learning.
I have
moving
it
forward.
set up. So the demo room I had was all set up with everything. But I have a blank version, which just comes with the whiteboards and the frames. You'd have to put the teacher or the TA would have to put in the information, set it up for the class. But, you know, for me, especially when it comes to physics, you're sitting there learning about protons and neutrons, and you don't know what that looks like because it's microscopic. You can't see it. So when someone's like, oh, a proton has 3 quarks, right? What the heck does that look like? I don't know what it is. But in there,
The
I had
Dr. Oakley just came out of her just now.
But when you go in there, when you go into the headset, I have a 3D model of a proton in there. And you go in and you see the 3 different quarks, and you see the strong interactions, which are just, that's part of physics. But you see the way that they interact in there. You see how there are, like, there are valence quarks, but there are also tinier ones on the inside. So when a teacher writes it down on a test and is like, how many quarks does a proton have? My hope is that the picture of that model pops up instead of them having to be like, what did it say on the notes?
Instead of to visualize it.
Right, you can see the picture and be like, oh, 3. Make it easier, you know? But that was my...
It's good stuff.
That was the research that I did with them, yeah.
Okay. We're a little bit more than halfway through. So now you know where we are. Okay? Look into that camera and talk to a black and brown girl that's 15 years old. That's scrolling right now. She's going through TikTok right now. Okay?
Okay.
And what would you say to trigger her to understand what she should be chasing compared to what she's actually chasing? That is a very deep question.
That is a very deep question.
This is. Let me give you an example of what this is. This is the man of color grabbing the 15-year-old kid that wants to deal drugs because that's what he sees in his neighborhood, and takes him to a basketball court and says, "You should be doing this because this is better for you."
Oh, that's deep.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the way I'm actually. So look at your black and brown women and answer that question. Like, this is why. That's what I'm giving you the analogy so you know how to succinctly do it. And remember, they're 15, so the answer isn't 10 minutes.
No.
The answer is more like a 2-minute
It's
answer.
really like a
so
2-minute
so
question.
it clicks for them to recognize why they should not be scrolling, and they should be researching what tools they should be using and how it benefits them. Go ahead.
Think on that a little bit. I'll say this. The internet, social media, the influencer, the fame of being an influencer and all of that is short-lived. It can go in a second. But the importance of the research and the importance of what you can do outside of social media can last past your lifetime. It can go into your children. It can inspire those around you. And then, not only will you be an inspiration, but what you've done is so much bigger than what you could do by making a 2-second TikTok. It's so much bigger. You could completely change history. And I think that the idea of changing history, changing your community, changing culture, changing the idea of what you can do and what we can do as a community and as people is so much more important than a 2-second video or a 5 or 60-second video.
Okay, now add on to that, because for those that are watching this are saying, all right, so they don't think that you're a unicorn, okay? And you're one of one, okay?
No, definitely not.
Give them how they can break into the STEM field. Like, what arenas, what are the avenues? What should they be looking for if they're in school? Okay? Again, we're in the AI generation. What should they be prompting and scrolling if they're interested in stuff like this? Like, walk them into like what they need to research, because today the technology is here to do it.
Yeah.
You just have to seek it out. Before, you couldn't find it or know where to go get it.
Yeah.
Now you can go get it. Tell them a couple ways they can go get it. Where to look for it?
1, speak to those around you. Sometimes the best information comes from your peers, comes from their parents, comes from your teachers, your professors. It's also, I learned something when I went to Caltech I went to a program in Caltech.
Explain it better.
Well, let me answer the question first. Hold on, wait a minute.
And end it with what Caltech represents.
Right. Like I was saying, I learned something at Caltech. There are multiple paths to the exact same goal. I am taking the dual degree path to get to aerospace engineering. Getting a physics degree, getting another one, maybe do a PhD, but that's my path. I can tell you that there's somebody else who's just going straight for it, and we're going to end up at the exact same destination. There isn't a definitive path to it except for knowing that if you love STEM, you love it. Keep going. Do not let that fire burn out. Keep feeding it. Let it get bigger. Because every time one question pops up in your head, you'll find 10 others. Follow those 10 others. After you follow those 10 others, there might be 100. Follow them. Every single time a question pops up, dig deep into it. And you never know where it will lead you.
So I like that answer. Follow your curiosity and never let the curiosity get doused out.
Yeah.
And when the more questions come into your head, that means you're on the right path.
Yeah.
In theory, right? That doesn't mean what's wrong. It means what's right. That means something more to chase.
Also, just because we say something is impossible does not mean it's impossible. That means we haven't figured out how to do it yet. Maybe you could be the one to figure it out.
That's a big one. I like that. That's a good answer. That's a good way to end verified. That's a good one. That's a good and the tools are there.
It's there.
I remember
Everything's there.
I remember having this conversation with your mom a while ago. Okay. Sometimes we get frustrated because we're only here for so long and we want so much progress to happen. And we're only here about 80 years. Okay. In the 60s, if you were a nurse and you were of color, you were going to be a nurse. You could not be a doctor. It was not allowed to be a doctor. Okay. And that's what, quote, Malcolm X and Martin Luther King were fighting for. So we could be doctors. Okay. Now we have people that run for president that did the first, joint separation of joint heads, and that person is a black man. Now you can learn how to be a doctor online. Okay,
Yeah.
compared to what things were. So it's just a matter of so the tools are there. There used to be a time where the tools weren't available to you.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what me and your mother can contribute to. But now there is no excuse, especially what you're saying. Because literally you could, whatever your questions are, you could start with your phone and ask your phone the exact same question, and it will give you option 1, option 2, and here's option 3, and actually here's the answer for you.
But there's a con to that, because we have it at the tips of our fingers, but you have to be able to differentiate what's correct and
Which
what's
goes
not.
back to what your mentors are teaching you, right? They
How to
teach you the
research.
how
The
to
hows.
research, because to have the answer is one thing. To know how to, what did your mentor say? You need to explain it to me.
Yeah.
Okay, once you explain it to me, then I know you know.
As long as
if you can't explain it to me, I don't know what the hell you're talking
as long as you can explain it as if you were explaining it to a non-physics major who's never heard of these words ever a day in their life,
then you're there.
you got it.
Luigi, person to person. See? Person to person. We were speaking about the impact of AI and what's going to survive AI. Okay, one thing's going to survive AI is person to person, because people need to deal with people. Okay,
Yeah.
so what you just said is people to people.
Yeah.
It's not people to people. Like you said, the phone's the answer, but the phone's not people to people.
No.
So with it.
And even then, my professor, actually, some of our homeworks that he gives us, he'll put something on ChatGPT, and he'll be like, "Here's the explanation that they gave me.
Your turn.
What's wrong about
Your
this?
turn. Your turn.
Tell me what's wrong about this."
Your turn.
We gotta then read through it, check our sources, and be like,
Actually doing
"That's not right.
ChatGPT backwards.
Yeah,
Love that.
yeah."
I love
And
that.
you can't run that through ChatGPT because they might tell you it's right. So it's just, you got nothing else to do.
We got qualified, we got verified, now we get the certified. We're rounding third base, okay? The C,
All right.
the C. You're doing, I'm fighting the cough. You're doing a fantastic job.
Thank you.
Okay, so now, again, we talked about how we got there. We talked about what it represents. Now we're talking vision and legacy, and we're moving forward. Okay? All right, here we go. First certified question. Fast forward 5 to 10 years.
Okay.
Where is Devin Wiggins in the world of aerospace and innovation?
So, in 5 years, let me see. Hopefully, my
Hell was up there.
I was checking because I got different schools to do, so had to make sure. What I hope to be doing in the next 5 years is to be in my PhD program, doing research on I would say engine combustion, and hopefully researching better materials for fueling. That's a big thing in why I'm doing aerospace engineering. I want to make it sustainable. I want to make it environmentally friendly, but I also want to make it cost effective. So we don't have a period of time where we stop going to space. And I need to know what's the best way to power it. How do we keep it clean? How do we make it cost effective? What are the limitations to these? And this is the research that I have to do. And I hope that I'm working 5 times harder to determine that answer in grad school or working with a professor who has a similar idea. And they not only believe that I can do this and that I can work through it, but that the future of space is so much more than becoming a war zone or using it for, greed or personal gain, but that there is a lot to know, not only about the universe, but about our planet that we find out on other places.
Okay. That is an answer. You actually answered the next question by answering that question. Because that's your we did it moment. If you started a because the way that you're motivating people and the motivation that's in you, you're gonna turn it. I'm not predicting. I'm telling you this is gonna happen for you. Okay, you're gonna end up being your own program or scholarship program with your name attached to it in some way, shape, or form. You're gonna be some part of that. Okay. What does that look like? So remember how you talked about how they get in the STEM, right? Follow the questions, follow the questions, follow the questions. All right, so now they're following the questions. They keep answering the questions, and they hit your radar because they're answering good questions. Now you want to jump in and say, whoa, grab that person. Okay, what's that program, a scholarship program, look like? What's Devin putting together?
I definitely want to do it for those who don't. Well, one, I have a genetic eye condition, and with that comes a lack of vision or limitations to my vision. And when I got my diagnosis and I was like, maybe I might not be able to do this, I was like, nah, we're just gonna keep going. And I think a big part of what that scholarship will be is for those who have such limitations where the world is like, oh, you can't see, you can't hear, you can't, you got some limitations. Maybe this isn't the best field for you. I would make a scholarship that says what you want to do in the field of science, if you are passionate about what you are doing, no matter what your limitations are, whether maybe you have been taking care of your siblings, and because of it, maybe your grades might not be, the best when you get out of high school. But you're passionate about doing your research. You're passionate about what you want to do in STEM. Then I will believe in you as long as you believe in yourself.
So you know what the name of your scholarship program is called, right?
Well,
It's going to be called Keep Going.
I mean, yeah.
Because you've laid out the foundation of what Keep Going is. You say, how do we get to STEM? If you're curious, keep being curious and keep answering the curious questions. Right. If I identify that you're answering the questions and you have limitations, we're going to keep moving you forward.
Yeah.
So that's the name of your program. It's called. You write that one down.
Because
It's to keep going. It's whatever you're a marketing person. Take those words and figure it out from there.
Because even now,
It works. But it's to keep going something.
But even now, if something ever goes down at Spelman, maybe you might not get a scholarship that you wanted, or something might have happened that caused you to not meet your expectations at Spelman. They don't just take that from you.
Right.
They give you room to explain what is going on. Like, I didn't get into Spelman first try. I got deferred. But what they did when I got deferred, they told me, write an essay. Explain to us anything you feel you need to explain. And at the time, I was taking AP Psychology in high school, and I had just got my eye surgery, and I had a D in that class at the time. And I knew, something told me that was a part of why I got deferred. So I explained to them what my situation was. Here's why I did not meet your expectations. But I'm passionate of what I want to do. Yes, maybe something might be going down. My GPA might not meet the requirement for a scholarship. But here's what happened. But here's also why I'm still meeting those requirements. And that's what's important. Yeah, GPA is, important. But the circumstances of someone's going through, as well as what they want to do and how they're doing, add that up together, that might be better than somebody who just sits in their room and has a 4.0.
Yeah, that's right. That valedictorian may not have that admission.
Exactly.
They may not have that inside of them. You're 1,000% correct.
And
they may not think they have to contribute because their grades are indicative of what they feel they deserve more than what they need to actually do.
And I see, even on our campus, but there are study rooms for, like, the Honor Society has their own personal study room in Giles. No tea, no shade. But if you're in the Honor Society, you already got your studying down. I'm glad that you have a study room. But for the students who may not have all of their studying stuff together, and they may not have figured out their best way of studying, they need an environment
1,000%.
to figure out how they can
1,000%.
study.
1,000%.
Especially freshmen.
1,000%.
So wouldn't a studying space, other than, you still have the whole campus, but wouldn't a study room to the students who need to learn how to study and who need the space to study be so much more effective than if it was for the students who have already figured it out?
It took me to my this is a tough statement I'm about to say out loud. It took me to my junior year in college to realize that I don't study at night.
Yeah.
I'm a morning person. So what I need to do is when we got assignments, I'm not going out. I'm going to bed. And I'd be in bed at 5, 6 o'clock. So I wake up at 1, 2 in the morning. And I would grind all the way through the classes. And that's how I found my stride. Okay? But it took me to my junior year to realize that I'm Theo Huxtable and dyslexic and have to study in the morning rather than at night, whereas traditionally you go home and you go study, right? So that goes straight to your point of what you said and represent. Yeah, it's the how. Not everybody's, my favorite phrase, not everybody's born on the same day. So nobody does things the same way.
And even going back, not to say that, but to go back to my my research, that's why I wanted to make sure it was inclusive.
Got it. That makes sense.
Because if the students who don't, the normal students or the students who aren't doing as well, don't have a physical room on campus, maybe there's a virtual room.
There's a virtual. Yeah, sure.
And they can even meet with other students who may be working on the same thing, and they might be having some trouble.
And they could tap in together.
Right there.
Absolutely. Ms. Devin Wiggins. I have 3 more questions, but you already answered them.
I did.
Yeah, because you're articulate in your responses that you're answering the questions. I don't know how much I need to thank you for this. This is amazing. Like this, I hope I was able to allow you to have a platform to express yourself. But this feeds me in so many different ways.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This has been a experience that I will never forget, and I hope that I really touch some young girls, maybe even some who are my age or might be older, and it is never too late to start.
But what's going to happen here, because you've already tapped in, is that we're coming back, but we're not coming back now. We're going to give you a couple more years. We're going to let some more milestones pass.
Yeah.
Okay, or some more growth pass, and then we're going to come back so they can see that this is not a one-shot deal here.
All right.
Okay, and you're doing this of significance. All
of
right.
course.
This is Miss Devin Wiggins. I normally end this a different way. Okay, but for time purposes, I'm simply going to say light and darkness cannot coexist at the same time. So if you choose to be one, choose to be the light. Okay. Thank you, Devin. Thank you, Mom.
Thank you.
Luigi, thank you for your patience. Okay. Thank you, Goju Nation.
Industry rule number 4080. Industry rule number 4080. Record company people are shady.